Hello, everyone. Welcome back to class. I trust you gathered a little bit or many conversation and new information from the previous class and mastering on camera presentation. From the previous class, we talked about all the behind the scene preparation you need because being on camera is a lot. Sometimes you do not have anyone to do it. You have to do it yourself. That's why I walk you through some of the behind the scene you need to do before coming in front of the camera. Don't forget, I also told you that when you're coming in front of any camera, you're not coming there to test waters. You're coming there to fly, to go straight to the point. There's no place for test running. If you're not ready, don't go in front of a camera. That's how it is. Today, we're not going to be talking about behind the scene. We're going to talk about what happens when you are in front of camera, just like I'm in front of camera. What should you do? That's what we're going to be talking about. Body language. Body language, facial expressions, gestures. Ooh, gestures is very, very important. Physical look, yes, I talked about it in my previous class. And then we can now talk about testing the microphone. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's going to be amazing. Do not miss any second of this class. Welcome back. So first, we're going to talk about posture. Now, presentation does not necessarily mean you need to stand. Sometimes you need to sit down. You can sit or you can stand. And there are certain postures, your body postures, that you must maintain, especially when you're sitting. You see, when you are seated in making presentation, a lot of things could make you uncomfortable, especially women. Some women like to sit and cross their legs. Some like to sit with their entire back rested on the wall. Some like to sit, just anyhow. And then halfway into the presentation, they feel so uncomfortable. They feel so uncomfortable to the extent that they might find it so difficult to breathe. So whether you're sitting or standing in making your presentation, it is very important that you maintain a good posture. A good posture helps you communicate effectively such that it doesn't make you too uncomfortable. Most times when you are seated and you're making a presentation, picture yourself like you're in a panel session. It is always advisable to not sit like you were too relaxed, because sometimes when you're too relaxed, you're prone to forget the things you plan to say. So get yourself a bit seated upright and ensure that your shoulders and are almost the same length as you. I recommend most times cross the right leg on the other leg. Most times what's comfortable for me is crossing my right leg or my left leg. The moment I put my left leg on my right leg, I will not be able to sustain that. And so while in the midst of presentation, when I'm seated, you see me trying to. So those are the reason why postures are very, very important to you. The moment you maintain a good posture, you're good to go. It sets your balance. Now, while you are standing, your posture could be your left leg in front and your back leg at the back. That could be your balance. For some people, it's when the two of them are in the same side. For me, when I want to stand and talk, I like to do it the feminine way. The left leg in the front and the back leg at the back. This way, I'm very much balanced and I can talk for as long as I want to. But for you, it could be either ways. Also, for those who would like to sit for presentation, you could love to sit and the next thing you're crossing your leg. The very first thing I do once I'm seated is to cross my leg. That's how I find my balance. For you, it could just be sitting and just your two, not too much of a crossing leg, just the right leg on top of the left leg and you're balanced. For some men, it's not always like that because not all men can cross their leg while seated. But at every point in time, the major objective here is to be comfortable. So find a position that you are comfortable in camera. So when your messages are flowing, you will not be so inconvenient in passing your message across. Next, we move to gestures. Gestures are very, very important, and you must limit the way you make them on camera. Gestures could come in any form. It could come in hands, gesticulation. When there are too much movement of hands, what do you want your audience to listen to? Do you want them to listen to your word or how you move your hand? Always remember that gestures are support of whatever you say. So most times the words, if they are good enough, it's enough. You don't need too much of gesticulations, but we're humans. We're prone to use our hands, our head, our body. So you must limit the way you do it. It is very, very important. And also for on-camera presentation, there is always a conversation around staying in frame. The camera works with a frame. So ensure that when you are gesticulating, you are not gesticulating beyond the frame. So it could be the length or the breadth. Imagine I want to say something and I'm like this, that is too distracting, or I'm like this, too distracting. Gesticulation could come in any form, but ensure that you always limit it, because on camera presentation requires you working in a particular frame. So don't forget, for gestures, you must try as much as you can to always be in frame. And let me also quickly add that being in frame also involves like the middle of your presentation. Some people like to be like at the edge. They also like to be at the left edge or the right edge. It is not always good for production. Then you must also be mindful of what they call the head frame. Ensure that you are not too tight. When a head frame is too tight, your head seems to be like touching the frame. It's not exactly perfect for production. So ensure that your body posture and when you're gesticulating do not take you out of the shot. It's simple camera ethics that everyone in front of a camera must always remember. Be mindful of your frame, especially when you are gesticulating. It is very, very important. Next, we talk about facial expressions. This is my I love the facial expressions because from the face you can tell, especially when it's a shot that has to do with just, the waist level or the chest level. From your face, we can tell if you're shy, if you're scared, if you're sure, or if you're in doubt of whatever you're saying. Remember, on camera, every single thing is magnified. And so you must try as much as you can to carry the necessary facial expression for a presentation. Most times, I recommend you carry a cheerful face that also signifies or shows or portrays confidence and authority. You have to be at a very high level of confidence when presenting. It's the one way to show your audience that you have power over whatever you are saying. You don't need to be too jovial when you're making a presentation, and you don't need to be too sad. You don't need to frown. You're not fighting the people you were talking to. You're trying to talk to them. And so talking to them includes or involves you doing everything you can in the most moderated form. I'm not smiling too much, but I have to at some point carry the approachable face, one that reflects that, I'm not a monster, I'm not a wicked person. It is very important. This is camera, this is visuals. Your facial expression is very important. I remember I started this presentation with my head like this, and I'm like this a little bit. I wanted you to pay attention. And if you pay attention, you observe that that face wasn't exactly like what it is now. Yes, I was trying to pass a message across. Your face, when you're in front of camera, communicates your inside. So when you're sad, the face is a reflection, it's a mirror. It will reflect every single thing. And so you have to try as much as possible, even if you're going through so much. But the moment you're in front of camera, you have to carry the cheerful face, the smiling face, like nothing is wrong anywhere, anytime. That's what camera deserve from you. So facial expressions are very, very important. But let me quickly add under this facial expression that aside that you're carrying the facial expression, the tone of your words, the things you say in front of camera, how you say it is very important. I have seen a video where a particular lady was trying to, talk to people about being motivated, trying to lift tone at which she was talking was just a bit scary. I didn't find motivation in there. What I find there was like someone shouting at me, like someone commanding me, and there's no way I want to feel motivated by that way. When you have to make motivational videos, you have to talk in the most serene voice, the most calming voice, the most approachable voice. Yeah, so while you're carrying the facial expressions, your voice has to also work in line with what your face is carrying. If you're carrying a cheerful face, your voice should be cheerful, should be inviting, it should be relaxing. Yeah, so that's why I always tell people for presentation, always be in line with whatever you say as well as whatever you portray with your face. It is very, very important for you to put all of this in your presentation. It commands confidence, authority, it commands that you know what you're saying, and it also commands call to action. So whatever you want your viewers to do, it is also reflected in every single thing in your face. Next, we're going to talk about body language. Body language are the unspoken communications we do through every part of our body. It is very important that you pay attention to body language because your viewers are going to be listening to the things you say, and they will also see the things you never said. Yes. Body language is very important. It's in how you nod your head, how your body is following whatever you say. So it's just like I'm saying, be happy, be cheerful, and my body is not reflecting that I'm happy. When I'm happy, you could tell by the way I gesticulate, the way I smile, the way I carry my, it reflects. So your body language must at every point reflect with whatever you're presenting with. So whether you're talking on entertainment, politics, you're trying to motivate people, or you're educating people about something, it is very important that your body language move alongside all the things you are saying. The moment it contradicts you, no, you don't have that power over your audience. You don't even have the right to tell them what to do with whatever you have to say. So it is very important that we put our body language in check. Let it be that what you're saying, you truly understand it, and that what you're saying is the truth. But the moment you say something and your body doesn't follow suit, it's contradicting what you're saying, and it's so hard to convince anybody of anything that way. Up next, I'm going to talk about eye contact. Hey, eye contact is very, very important. Everyone that knows me about presentation, I love to talk about eye contact. Eye contact for camera will be your eyes on the camera lens. So most times for recordings like this, I recommend that you use the back camera. So when you use the back camera of your phone, you are looking at the lens of your phone. Do not look at the body of your phone. Do not look at the fine case or the fine pouch it has. Look at the camera of your phone or the gadget. Now, your camera can be so big or it can be so small. The only thing that matters to you when you are in front of a camera is those tiny lenses. Some of the lenses could be big, some of them could be small. But regardless of what it is, look at the lens. Now, why is it important for you to look at the lens? The lens is said to be the eye of the person you are talking to. Do not forget that I've always mentioned in this class that your camera lens is the eye of the person you are talking to. And when you're talking to anybody and you're looking directly into their eyes, it signifies confidence. It shows authority. It shows that you know what you're saying. So that's why it's very important that while you're talking in front of a camera, look at the lens to show that I know what I'm saying and I'm referring this message to you, my friend. Let me tell you what happens when you do not look at the camera lens. When you do not look at the camera lens of your phone or gadget, what it reflects is it's like you looking at somebody, but you're not looking at the person while talking to the person. You're probably looking at the person's clothes, the wristwatch, the body, the head, and you're not looking at the right place, which is the eye. When someone is talking to me, making a presentation, or we're just having a conversation, and the person is looking everywhere else but not my eye, the person is going to lose me in that conversation because you cannot grab my attention by doing that. It's the same thing as the camera lens. The moment you do not have eye contact with your camera lens, your direction on the monitor. Now, let me also say that your phone camera, the screen, is your monitor, a reflection of whatever is going on at the behind lens or the front lens. Where it also gets very dicey is there's also another lens in front of your camera. So a lot of people make the mistake of recording and looking at the phone screen. The phone screen is not the lens. The lens is in front of the phone camera, in front of the screen there. So try as much as you can to avoid the screen. The screen is the reflection of what you give the lens. So the moment you are looking at the screen, the lens is blank there. The direction is looking elsewhere. So when your video comes out, you were talking to the camera, but your eyes was like this because you were looking at the screen, not the lens. So it is very important that you know the difference between a screen, and a lens. The camera phone has a lens and the screen, sometimes the front camera at the same place. But as I said before, it is very advisable you use the behind the camera lens because most times it has higher resolution for you to use. And now that's our facial expression, and I know that a lot of people are working on it. Please work on your tones, work on how you smile. Don't smile sheepishly on camera. Please, we just look you as someone who is not serious when you do that. Be coordinated. Command the respect and authority and confidence by the way you carry yourself on camera. It is very, very important. There's a lot I still want to talk about for this class, but I'm going to stop here. And don't forget, please submit your assignment for today. After today, I'm not going to ask you for your assignment. I'm going to ask for your assignment for the next week. But this is camera presentation. My name is Miriam Basman, signing out, and see you in the next class. Bye.